A controversial judgment of Nagpur Bench of the Bombay High Court has drawn some sharp reactions. The Court of Justice Anil Pansare observed that the act of following and abusing the complainant cannot be said to be capable of shocking the sense of decency of a woman. The act may be annoying, but definitely would not shock the sense of decency of a woman. The court did not stop at that. It went on to say that conduct can be annoying but will not be sufficient to shock the decency of a woman. So I'm reiterating what this judgment has said. So what made the court come up with this judgment? It was hearing an appeal filed by a man challenging his conviction by a magistrate for outraging a woman's modesty. And as per the woman, who was the star witness in this case, after the applicant pushed her, she got annoyed but kept walking, and after he kept on following her, she hit him, and thereafter the complaint was registered at the police station. However, he was out on bail and his sentence was suspended pending hearing in the appeal. The court noted that besides the woman's statement, there was no other evidence on record. So the question that we ask on the show, will this judgment set a bad precedent? Before I bring in the guests, let me go straight to Pratibha, who's joining me with a group of women in Bengaluru. Let's hear their voices. What are their thoughts on this judgment?
In fact, I'm here in Bengaluru's Church Street, where you have a lot of young women who keep walking through these streets. And this was the same area just about 2 years ago, which was pretty infamous for a particular case of molestation. And soon after that, we've been hearing about many women who've been thronging the street, talking about stalking, number one, and also talking about being abused, number two. I have with me 3 women who have come to Bengaluru from Chennai, and Chennai is also a place that is not new to stalking, that is not new to getting abused, even by auto drivers, for instance. Would you not agree with me?
Yeah, the way they see, it's pretty disturbing sometimes, because when we're traveling somewhere, we need to have peace. Like, we should not be under someone's influence and dress according to them or something. We should have the priority. We have the rights to choose what we dress and everything. But it doesn't happen the same everywhere.
Ma'am, do you also get abused by auto drivers in Chennai? And when you come to Bangalore, have you heard stories of people being stalked? And have you ever been stalked or followed somewhere?
I think the whole concept of stalking is because, there's like 2 different individuals and who are not known to each other, right? If the other person knows the other person, then it's a totally different story. But here, the person does not know, and when we talk about this whole concept of stalking, I think that's where the starting point is for other serious consequences to follow. So I think stalking as such, this being passed as a verdict that it's still acceptable itself is not something that we could digest. And I'm really surprised to see that this verdict has been passed today. I think this is something that should be reconsidered, given that stalking is always a starting point for serious consequences to occur. So irrespective of whether it's Bengaluru or Chennai, I think it's uniform across the city where girls are finding this a not acceptable form.
I mean, you would definitely say that it is quite annoying when a person follows you. And how scared are you when a person suddenly ends up following you everywhere?
Very much annoying. That is, you don't know the person and you see the person following you throughout the streets. It's totally disturbing, and ultimately you tend to lose your confidence. You look at your dress, whether something is wrong with your dress, your hairstyle, what is bothering him ultimately. So you tend to think things which are irrelevant to that. And being a mother of a child who goes to college, I've seen auto drivers abusing. They say if you are not, if they tend to give the correct fare, they say you leave such a open hair and you dress, you are in pants, you are in jeans, and you're not able to give me 50 rupees more. That is the way the auto drivers also start abusing. So it's little panicky to even send children across because of this stalking and other issues.
So, like you said, stalking becomes the starting point.
Exactly.
Don't you feel that there needs to be stringent action or measures that need to be taken to address this as an issue?
Yeah, I think while every individual is doing their part to be careful, within the smaller circle, like a family trying to protect the child and all of that, I think the larger responsibility lies with the society. I think if this is passed as a verdict, then this could kind of send some wrong pulse across a bigger crowd. So I think a verdict as powerful as this needs to be reconsidered, keeping in interest the women who are going to be the future of tomorrow. So I think this has to be reconsidered. Yeah.
If you were to be followed, how confident would you be to head to a police station, register an FIR, and also ensure that this person can be booked? I mean, how confident will you be of that?
No. In every case, that won't be possible to go to police station and file a complaint, because we don't know whether. We don't know that they are stalking or something, but we know that they're stalking, but the police officer would need more evidence about that. We just can't go and say that the person is stalking, and they might have influence. So they can just say, in what basis you just complained to them that
So that means you would hesitate to go to a police station tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. So what kind of laws or measures do you think must be brought into force so that such kind of activities don't repeat themselves and women feel a lot more safe?
I guess there are helplines, but I guess it's not effective. Whenever some woman feels unsafe about some person being followed or something, they can just call the helpline or something. So the female polices arrive at the spot and they can just carry on. It'll be more, this protocol is being there, in all the cities, but I don't think so it's more effective. It's just been implemented by the government, but I don't think...
Though there are some amount of measures in place, but then most of them tend to think or hesitate before adopting those measures because they feel that it will only end up failing them.
All right, Pratibha, thank you so much, and thank you to those girls for expressing their thoughts comprehensively, I would say. Seema Kushwaha is an advocate of the Supreme Court. We also have Kamini Jaiswal, senior advocate of the Apex Court. Kamini Jaiswal, this Nagpur Bench of Bombay High Court has ruled there was a case that it had. Do you think it will have an impact on how stalking in general will be viewed, or will stalking be seen still under 354D of IPC?
I don't know if you can call it plain and simple stalking, because from what I read, it was that the man pushed the lady with his bike. Now, obviously, by pushing her, he must have touched her. Now, she doesn't have to, explicitly say where he touched her. This is, and first, stalking by itself is bad enough. And if high courts are going to take this kind of a view, I think it is, what is the point of having a law? If the High Court is to interpret it like this, what is the point? You remember that Rupan Deol Bajaj's case? If this is the kind of view, they would have never convicted KPS Gill. Because it was an act which the lady felt outraged, the lady felt that her modesty had been violated. So, and that is how, there was no definition of how outraging a modesty is and how it can be figured out. But the question is that, the High Court giving such a ruling, I'm utterly shocked.
Will this set a bad precedent, ma'am?
Of course, the High Court is, set a bad precedent, at least in the state. What will if any complaint is filed before a lower court, they are not going to take it seriously. They will just be, they will just brush it off. As it is so tough to get an FIR registered against a man for a woman who's, feels that her modesty has been outraged, or somebody has teased her, or somebody is stalking her. It's not easy to get across an FIR registered. It's not easy to convince a policeman to take it seriously. It's not easy. And now if the High Court has said this, what is it going to do?
So it's only becoming more difficult for the women to get justice, Seema.
Yes, absolutely. कामनी मैम ने जो भी क्लियर किया है कि इस केस में अगर पर्टिकुलर, आई नो वेरी वेल कि हाई कोर्ट एंड सुप्रीम कोर्ट के पास इंटरप्रिटेशन का पावर है, बट जो प्रिस्क्राइब लॉ है उस लॉ के बाहर जाकर के तो नहीं आप इंटरप्रिटेशन कर सकते हैं, जिसमें उस लॉ का जो मोटिव है वो ही खत्म हो जाता है. कि अगर किसी वुमेन को स्टॉकिंग कर रहे हैं, इंटेंशनली उसको अब्यूज कर रहे हैं, उसको पुश कर रहे हैं, तो क्या ये क्रिमिनल लॉ नहीं है? अगर 354 को अगर हम पढ़ें तो whoever assault or uses criminal force any woman intending to outrage or knowing it to be likely that will thereby outrage her modesty. ये इसकी इंटरप्रिटेशन ये है, क्या उसकी इंटरप्रिटेशन की जा रही? प्रिस्क्राइब लॉ ये है, कोडिफाइड लॉ ये है, और अगर इस तरीके से जजमेंट आएंगे तो डेफिनेटली जो हमारी विमेन है वो किस तरीके से बिलीव कर पाएंगी, किस तरीके से ट्रस्ट कर पाएंगी कि एक तो बहुत ही डिफिकल्ट है उनके लिए एफआईआर लॉन्च करवा पाना, उसके बाद इन्वेस्टिगेशन बहुत डिले होता है, प्रोसीडिंग बहुत ज्यादा डिले होती है, केसेस फास्ट ट्रैक नहीं है, उसके बाद अगर इस तरीके के अपीलाइट कोर्ट से वर्डिक्ट आएगा तो ये इसमें तो फीमेल, जो कि अभी हम बहुत सारी फीमेल को सुन रहे थे कि वो हेजिटेट होती है, उनके लिए कितना डिफिकल्ट होगा। तो ये
Kamini Jaiswal, how do you overturn these verdicts and ensure that it don't stay in the domain of law and that they become nullified?
Somebody should file an appeal in the Supreme Court. It has to come to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has to set it aside. I mean, that's the only way you can do it. After all, it's a High Court. It's a High Court order. So only the Supreme Court can deal with it. And, there has to be some, these are very serious matters. We can't take them so lightly. They are very serious matters. Today he had just been stalking her. You know what where it reaches, this stalking. If nothing is done, if this woman hadn't complained about this, I don't know how far that man would have gone, because this is not the first time he's done it, she says. So, these are serious matters, and I wish our courts, that is why I feel the courts have to be more gender sensitive. They cannot but understand the woman's feeling. They cannot understand what a woman goes through. Something like this happens.
So how do you instill that much needed gender sensitivity in courtrooms and courts, Seema? Because you have worked during Nirbhaya judgment, you have been in the court during the entire trial, you have seen the entire journey and how difficult it is because of the general sense of insensitivity which prevails.
मारिया जी, अगर हम कोई भी लॉ कोडिफाई कर देते हैं, अमेंडमेंट कर देते हैं, बट उसका इम्प्लीमेंटेशन इन गुड वे अगर नहीं होता है तो बहुत ही डिफिकल्ट होगा। अगर अवेयरनेस नहीं है, मेल पर्सन के अंदर एक्सेप्टेंस नहीं है, अगर कानून का उनके अंदर डिटरेंस नहीं है, तो फिर इस तरीके के जब रिजल्ट आएंगे, वर्डिक्ट आएंगे, तो उसका जो पॉजिटिव इम्पैक्ट सोसाइटी पर होना चाहिए वो नहीं पड़ेगा। क्योंकि जेंडर सेंसिटाइजेशन के लिए हमारी जुडिशरी, हमारी गवर्नमेंट, ये सारी जो हायर अथॉरिटी हैं, इनकी अकाउंटेबिलिटी है। अगर वहां से इस तरीके के जजमेंट आएंगे, वर्डिक्ट आएंगे, तो मुझे लगता है कि हम एक गुड मैसेज देने में फेल हैं। और दूसरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग ये है कि डेफिनेटली सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया है, अपीलाइट कोर्ट है, वहां पर हम हाई कोर्ट के वर्डिक्ट को चैलेंज कर सकते हैं, लेकिन कितनी नंबर ऑफ फीमेल हैं जो कैपेबल हैं कि दिल्ली तक आकर के वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया में केस को फाइल कर सके, उसको चैलेंज कर सके? क्योंकि ग्रास रूट लेवल पे हम देखेंगे कि अगर डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट तक भी फीमेल फाइट कर पा रही है तो ये बड़ी बात है। उसके सामने तमाम तरीके के चैलेंजेस हैं सोसाइटी के। वो मेंटली स्ट्रांग नहीं है, इस सोसाइटी का सपोर्ट नहीं है उसके पास, फैमिली का सपोर्ट उसके पास नहीं होता है बहुत सारे केसेस में। और जब ये केसेस जो 354 वाले हैं, इस केसेस को तो पुलिस भी बहुत सीरियस नहीं लेती है। अगर वो इस लेवल पे पहुंची है तो डेफिनेटली वो सैल्यूट करती हूँ उस विमेन को कि उसने एक करेज दिखाया। लेकिन क्या हमने वो सिस्टम भी इतना आसान बनाया उस विमेन के लिए कि वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट में आकर भी फाइट कर सके?
एंड दिस वाज अ सिंगल जज बेंच, Kamini Jaiswal, which passed this verdict, in which it was about criminal revision application which was filed by this man from Wardha.
Yeah. So the lower court had actually acted more sensibly.
Yes.
If it was a revision, so there was an order against that man by the lower court. No, but why do you people say that it stuns women rights activists? It should stun any right-thinking person.
That's right.
Man or woman. This kind of a thing, should stun anybody. A woman is being treated like this, and the High Court and revision powers are to be used in very rare cases. They're not to be used so lightly like this. Just because he feels that it was, she does not say where he touched her, so therefore this case, it is not a case of 354. There should be some strictures against the judge also. There has to be, it can't go on like this,
Yes, ma'am, because I was looking at some part of this judgment, and the point that you made certainly is very, very shocking and embarrassing at the same time, when the Honorable Judge says that the contact with the part of the body of the woman has not been stated by her. So, why should she be saying it at all?
No, but you touch her anywhere, it is modesty, outraging her modesty. It doesn't specify, tag doesn't say that you touch at a particular place. I mean, this is not rape. This is something wider than that. So therefore, for the judge to even have used that is, I think, shocking. And in any case, as far as the woman coming to the Supreme Court, things are easier now. Since you have online filing, you have everything, video conferencing and all that. So anybody can, some lawyers from there can file it online. It's not so tough. And it should be taken up because it's not an individual issue. It's an issue of interpretation of a law which should be interpreted more strictly than the judge has done.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us, Seema Mutwa and Kamini Jaiswal.